Hi, this is Arvind Bharti, and we are here at KubeCon in San Diego. And today we have with us Haim Helman. You are CTO of Octarine. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I'm curious because in today's cloud-ready world, we cannot expect a company which is 20 years old. So I'm curious, how old is the company, and why and when you created the company?
So we started Octarine a little over 2 years ago. My partners and I, we saw this huge shift that is now starting to take form into microservices and cloud-native architectures. And what we saw was a big gap in security for those environments. A lot of the security tools that were available until now didn't have the scale, didn't have the necessary identity in order to deal with this new architecture where workloads are ephemeral. Very IP identity is no longer a viable way to enforce security rules based on IP and port. So we saw this paradigm shift. Also, we identified a shift in culture and the organization, the way it develops and deploys cloud native applications. So there's a lot more power in the hands of developers now than there ever was before. And part of that power is that developers can provision cloud infrastructure much more easily than before. And the necessary security controls that should govern that process of provisioning network assets, storage assets, compute assets was just not there. So what we wanted to build is a solution that makes it easy and friendly for developers and DevOps team to infuse security into those cloud-native environments.
When you look at security, is it a technical problem or people's problem? Are people already aware of it, but there is an issue with education? That's why we see the emergence of DevSecOps as well. Mm-hmm. So from your perspective, what is it, people or technology?
So it's both. Again, the people problem is that people who are not in security, they don't have the necessary knowledge and they don't really care enough in order to pay attention to slow their development process enough to make sure that the software they develop and deploy is in fact secure. And the security teams don't have the necessary skills and the necessary resources to adapt to this new cloud-native environment. The technical challenges are there as well. Again, ephemeral workloads, lots of IPs coming up and down, scale-out architectures, massive growth in east-west traffic compared to north-south, what we were used to. So just defending the perimeter is not enough anymore. We need a solution that looks at the traffic inside the data center, not just what's coming in and out. And again, things become a lot more easy to manage. Things like secret management, storage management, network management. And even though it sounds great, it has a security implication that a security solution has to address.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of tools, products, that help customers. But do you also work with the open source community, or offer some tool to them so that they can, just have a look at?
Yes. So we've developed an integration of the mod security library, the most commonly used web application firewall, open source web application firewall, with the Envoy proxy. So to help make web application firewalling easier to deploy and manage in those cloud native applications. We've open sourced our policy language. It's called Maple, that we hope will allow people to develop their own policy, whether it has to do with network access or managing admission control in Kubernetes. So we have recently announced a risk assessment service that is free to use and available to download. And what we really want is to allow developers, DevOps people, and security teams to first get this first glimpse of their security posture in Kubernetes. How secure are the workloads that they are deploying in Kubernetes beyond the basic vulnerability management and container image scanning that is becoming more and more commonplace.
Right. And when you talk about these tools, there are two approaches you can have. Either you can build gates that is very restrictive, or you can build guardrails where you can have flexibility. So what approach do you prefer?
So the truth is that in this world, again, as we mentioned, developers have a lot of freedom. Trying to restrict them to very specific set of rules is impossible. That's the easiest way to get the security team out of the discussion, out of the room, and have developers do whatever they want. The right way, the way we see it, and the way I believe is pretty much the only way to implement security in this new culture, in this new environment, is by setting guardrails. And that means decide what is your acceptable risk. What are the things you are allowing? What do you think things that should not happen? And setting scopes for those rules, and then allowing the developers to work freely within those guardrails. So as long as you don't exceed the accepted amount of risk, that should be fine.
We talked about the resources that you offer to the community, but at the same time you have customers also, because not everybody cannot afford to have developers dedicated. Sometimes people just want to buy. So what kind of products, can you talk about your product portfolio that you have for customers?
Yes. So we've just announced the general availability of the Octarine security platform for Kubernetes. And we have two areas of focus. One is Octarine Guardrails, which is meant, as we talked about, to provide a set of boundaries for developers to operate in based on policies and best practices that we derive from the CIS benchmark and other sources. So the idea is you start with an estimation or assessment of your risk. Then you can start developing your policies based on predefined templates. And it's a combination of both APIs that allows you to test your workload definitions before they are deployed, and all the way to admission controller during the deployment of your workloads into Kubernetes in development, testing, staging, and all the way to production. The other area of focus is runtime. So once you have your workloads deployed, you want to be able to see what's going on. And we start with visibility. We start with showing you which workloads are deployed, how they are interacting with each other. And then on top of it, we build our intrusion detection capabilities, an anomaly detection engine, and signature-based threat detection. And to accomplish all of that, we leverage the service mesh approach. So we identify this trend that I think it's extremely powerful of offloading network functionality into a proxy in large-scale deployments. And we attach ourselves to that proxy in order to get telemetry. On top of it, we build our anomaly detection and threat detection, and also to enforce policy. So we help the customer define their network policies to control access, and also to control what egress traffic leaves the cluster.
In today's world, everything is multi-cloud. So are you tied to a particular cloud provider, or you offer across, or do you have any partnership with any cloud vendor?
So we work with all cloud vendors. We work with AWS, with the Google Cloud platform, and with Azure. We work with the on-prem solutions with OpenShift and Pivotal Kubernetes service. We've just had a very successful collaboration with Google around securing Cloud Run in their Anthos platform. So Anthos is kind of a best-of-class, secure Kubernetes platform, but still the applications that are deployed on that platform need to be secured as well. So we've worked with the Google team to integrate Octarine into Anthos, especially for the use case of securing the Cloud Run function as a service framework.
As you work in this space and you talk to your customers, you also do a lot of studies and reports coming out. What are the trends that you're seeing in this space where you see, hey, a lot of things, there are a lot of gaps that are in the market when it comes to security?
So what we hear a lot from our customers is that for them, securing Kubernetes means running container image scanning. And they begin to understand that that leaves many blind spots in their security posture, starting from the configuration of the workload. So the image itself doesn't show the intent of the developer that actually deployed the workload. Looking at the Kubernetes workload does that and also augments it with information about network configuration, privileges, access control, secret management. And the second thing is intrusion detection. Vulnerabilities in images only cover known cases, but there are still zero-day vulnerabilities that translate into attacks, and those can only be detected and prevented by a runtime solution. In this new environment, again, a lot of east-west traffic, a lot of communication between microservices. And if you don't look at that, at the runtime, at behavior, at communication, you don't have a complete security solution.
Okay, Haim, thank you so much for sitting down today with me and explaining the whole security or insecurity landscape in the cloud native world. And the things are moving so fast that by the time we sit down next year, because 2019 is gone, there will be a lot of things would have happened by that time. So I look forward to seeing you again at some point. Once again, thank you.
Thank you very much.